Is all hope lost? We continue reading through Job's story, and things aren't getting any better for him. Since last week, 2 more of his friends have spoken to him, and he's not finding any comfort in what they have to say. It certainly seems like this is a low point. After losing his possessions and most of his family and getting lesions all over his body, and now his friends don't bring him any comfort, no wonder Job is despondent. There is something that I do wonder about, though. Job continues to pray. Why? Well, Job doesn't know the interaction that we know between God and Satan, doesn't know that God sort of permitted Satan to afflict Job a number of times. It was a common belief, though, that hardships were a punishment from God. And actually, Job's friends make that point a number of times, trying to convince him that he must have done something wrong to have all of this calamity fall upon him. If only he could figure it out, then he could atone for it, and all would be good. His suffering would come to an end. But it would be reasonable in a case like this to give up on God. There's no need to carry on the relationship that Job and God have. If Job is right, if he's done nothing wrong, and if his friends are right, that he's being punished by God for not having done anything wrong, it would be reasonable to give up on that relationship, to stop praying, to stop talking to God. I don't know how Job does it. Somehow in the midst of all of this, Job manages to cling on to some hope. He says if a tree is cut down, even the faintest hint of water will inspire it to come back to life. And he asks in prayer, in this despondent prayer, what happens to people? If they are cut down, if their life looks like it's coming to an end, if it looks like they've lost everything, why isn't there similar hope for people that there is for a tree? That people too might come back to life. Now, unfortunately, our world is full of stories of people who lose everything, and those who come back to life, and those who don't. Those who choose a new path, and those who unfortunately even decide to end their life. What is it that causes one person to choose one response and one to choose another? A number of people might put it down to different outlooks on life, different supports, different experiences that people have. There'd be a number of reasons that we could come up with, and they could all be true. Yet there are people who seem to have the best of all of those things and still feel as if there is no hope left. Job somehow manages to find the hope that he needs. In today's reading, he calls out to God that he wants to go to Sheol, that place where people went when they died. That's the depth of Job's pain. However, he makes it clear he doesn't want to stay there. He wants God to remember him one day, to give him the hope of being protected from the wrath that has done him so much wrong. And Job later appeals for a redeemer. Now, as Christians, we would assume for us that that would be Jesus. But for Job, it might be someone else. It wouldn't have been Jesus. Jesus hadn't been born. The commentaries I read and that I shared with Diane and Linda in our Bible study, the commentaries disagree as to who that Redeemer or even Avenger might be. It might be God, or it might be a clansman, a kinsman, someone from Job's family. This is where we as Christians get to tie all of this together. Water that the faintest hint of can give a tree new life is fundamental to our identity as Christians, not just because our body is made up of a huge percentage of water, but because it is through water that we mark our membership in God's family. The same water that can give a dying tree life is the water that gives us life as sisters and brothers and siblings in Christ. It is water that grafts us into God's family. It is the water of hope. Now, our faith doesn't take away the difficult parts there are in our world. Our baptism doesn't do that either. Our being part of a church, faith community doesn't do that. But our faith does give us hope that one day things will be better. Our baptism gives us that hope. Our community, our membership in a community of faith is living out that hope in the world. As we gave thanks today for our baptisms, as we had that rite down at Tuck Creek, we reminded ourselves also earlier in worship that this land we are on was not originally our own. May we not lose our connection to the land and to the water, to those who cared for this place long before us. May we not lose our connection to each other. For yes, we're going to lose hope from time to time. Yet in community, in communion with God, through the water of baptism, our hope can be restored, just like a tree is restored to life again. May we seek out hope from each other when we're hopeless. May we offer hope to each other when we see someone else has lost hope. For our faith is best expressed in the world as the gift of hope that we give and that we receive. And for that, we give thanks to God. Amen.